But as far as it goes for Deion's legacy and what's going to happen in Colorado in the future, you have to understand the bigger picture on all of this. And guess what? I know the rest of the world isn't going to like this, but here's what they're not telling you about Deion Sanders and this Colorado football team. Ah, yes, it is time for yet again another prime time video. Man, oh man, it's been a while since we've done that intro, and we've got a lot to talk about in tonight's video, so get your popcorn, get your snack, get whatever you like to eat when you watch a video, because it's going to be a good one. And oh yeah, by the way, we're not doing no intro, none of that. It's relatively simple. If you like the content, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you here. If you don't like it, well, don't subscribe. Do want to throw in there, though, we are on the road to 300,000 subscribers, and as you can see right here, we are super close. So if you do like college football content and just football content in general, we'd love to have you here. Anyways, though, getting a move on, let's get the elephant out of the room. Yes, Oregon dismantled Colorado on the previous Saturday. It was bad, it was ugly, I've already talked about that enough. And the funny thing is, and I knew this was going to happen, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't, all these Colorado fans, they're mad at me. They're mad at me for sitting up here saying, yeah, Colorado, they sucked and they got exposed. They're mad at me for saying, oh yeah, Oregon just beat the brakes off of them. Well, here's my question. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to come up here and say after you get your butt whooped? I'm not like other people. I'm not your grandma. I'm not going to sit up here after you get your butt smacked and go, oh yeah, well, it's okay. You'll get them next time. No, you played bad. You played awful. I would be doing a disservice to every single person that watches me if I didn't critique Colorado harsh after that game. And I also want to bring this up. I saw so many people saying, oh, I guess Matt, he's hopping off the Deion Sanders and Colorado bandwagon. Yet again, I guess me covering the game, me analyzing the game, sitting up here telling you what happened in the game, that's me hopping off the bandwagon. Okay, I can't win with you guys, can I? If I praise Colorado, it's, oh yeah, Matt's D-riding. And then if I critique them any amount, it's, oh yeah, Matt's just a hater. It blows my mind, really does, but that's not what we're here to talk about in today's video. What we're here to talk about in tonight's video is what they're not telling you about Deion Sanders and this Colorado football team. And I'm going to be honest and upfront with all of you. It's comical. It is. I'm going to remind some of you. You know what Colorado's record was last year, right? They were 1-11. You know how many games they were projected to win this year? 2.7. 2.7. How many have they already won? 3. They've already overexceeded that. And if you have Twitter, Instagram, any social media, you know everybody, a lot of people out there that weren't Colorado fans, they were so happy to see Oregon just completely annihilate Colorado. They were. And I saw a lot of people saying, oh, well, why does everybody hate Coach Prime, this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And I saw Danny Cannell tweet this out, and it explains it really well. He said, simple, people were exhausted, keyword exhausted, with the over-the-top coverage of Deion. Every pregame speech aired, all in all caps, all day on every ESPN show on loop, overhyping average wins. That's it. That is one of the best tweets I've ever seen, just explaining the situation to a T. That's all it was, and I'm sure Deion Sanders has a ton of people that actually hate him. He would even admit that. But I think a large portion of people that were rooting against Colorado in this Oregon game, they were just sick and tired of the Colorado coverage. Me personally, I'm not. Heck, I'm one of the people that makes people tired of the coverage. I cover Colorado than any other team out there. I mean to say I cover Colorado more than any other team out there, but you get what I'm trying to say. I love the coverage. Heck, I am the coverage. I'm part of the problem that people have with Colorado. And I get people tweeting at me all day, every day on Twitter, yo, Matt, stop talking about Colorado. We're tired of Colorado, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? I don't stop because I love it. I love covering Colorado. That's all there is to it. And the people love it as well. And I'm always going to give the people what they want. But that's what a lot of people are missing in this. Everybody out here, they just wanted Colorado to lose. So ESPN and all these other people out here, they would shut their mouths. And here's something I also thought was rather interesting that Deion Sanders had to say after the game. He stated that these other teams they're playing, they're not trying to beat Colorado. They're trying to beat me, and I'm not even playing in the games. And that's true because why is everybody tuned into Colorado football? It's not because of the players. It's because of Deion Sanders. That's it. We wouldn't even be talking about the Colorado-Oregon game if it wasn't for Deion. Let's just be honest. We wouldn't even be making this video right now if it wasn't for Deion Sanders. It's the Deion effect. Oregon wasn't so hyped up and motivated for this game because of the Colorado players or their opponent. They was hyped up for this game because Deion Sanders was the head coach for the other team. And guess what? I know the rest of the world isn't going to like this, but here's what they're not telling you about Deion Sanders and this Colorado football team. After that game against Oregon, what did the whole country do? They laughed at Colorado and they took a sigh of relief and was like, finally, no more Colorado coverage. The hype train's going to die down. They're going to get completely destroyed by USC next week. Everything's back to reality. We just talk about Alabama, Georgia, Texas, USC, and all the other blue bloods of college football. That's what everybody thinks is going to happen. Everybody thinks Coach Prime has been brought back down to earth. In Colorado, they're back to being a terrible team and terrible program. Well, here's what you need to actually pay attention to, buddy. And I've been saying this ever since Deion got to Colorado. This is a long-term rebuild. This year, and Deion Sanders wouldn't dare say this, but he knows it deep down, this is almost like a free trial. What's a better way to say this? This is like a practice test. I think that's better. It does count, but it doesn't really count because the real test is in year 2 and year 3. Because by year 2 and really year 3, that's when Deion Sanders, he's going to have a couple of years of recruitment under him. Remember, he didn't even have a full year of recruiting in this offseason. He didn't even really have time to go recruit high school kids. He had to get all his kids out of the transfer portal. And as far as it goes for a front seven, it is extraordinarily hard to get guys in the trenches to come to your school because, number one, in the transfer portal, you don't really see guys on the offensive line and defensive line entering it like you see all these athletes, these quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. We knew heading into the season for Colorado, the biggest weakness was going to be the offensive line and defensive line. And well, fast forward in time, that's the biggest weakness. And I know it seems like you got a lot to fix because you got completely destroyed by Oregon, but that's really the only problem. It's much easier said than done, but you just got to fix the O-line and D-line and you're going to be ready to go. Am I saying once you fix the O-line and D-line, you're going to beat Oregon, you're going to beat USC? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is once you fix the O-line and D-line, you'll be ready to compete. That's the difference, because right now, you can't even compete with teams like Oregon. And yet again, it goes back to this. It's going to take a couple of years for Coach Prime to get those guys in there. And that's why head coaches normally at bare minimum get 2 to 3 years to prove themselves. It is rare to see a head coach get fired in 2 years unless something drastic happened because you want to give him at least a couple years. You want to at least give him a couple recruiting cycles under him to at least prove what he can do with his guys. My point is with all this, Deion Sanders is just getting started at Colorado. But yet, after a couple big wins, people have forgot that this year doesn't even really count. It doesn't even matter. When we talk about Deion Sanders' coaching career in 25 years from now, we're not going to bring up what he did in year 1 at Colorado. Because guess what? Nick Saban's the greatest of all time, and we saw what happened in year 1 at Alabama for him. He lost to Louisiana Monroe. Kirby Smart at Georgia in year 1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he went 8-5. Granted, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart didn't have the transfer portal, but you see the point I'm trying to make here. Year 1, not a big deal. Doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter, and it especially doesn't matter when you're inheriting a 1-11 program that has straight up sucked the past couple of years. And people out here are forgetting the bigger picture because all these media companies like ESPN, they're not telling people that Deion Sanders, he's in it for the long haul. He wasn't trying to win a championship in year 1 at Colorado. Heck, in year 1, you know what the main priority was for Deion Sanders? Just get the bums out. That's how bad Colorado was. He couldn't even focus on recruiting. Step number 1 was get the bums out. Then step number 2 was, okay, let's get some players in here. And step number 3 will be recruiting in this offseason coming up. And trust me, I get it. I was the first person to critique Colorado after getting blasted by Oregon, but I'm just telling you what I saw in the game. I'm just analyzing it. But as far as it goes for Deion's legacy and what's going to happen in Colorado in the future, you have to understand the bigger picture on all of this. And this is also another main reason why I said I got Colorado going 5-7. And it's going to be difficult to even get that 5th win. I'm telling you, I know Colorado fans are like, oh, but we're 3-1. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be lucky to get to 5-7 or 6-6. You better believe that. You have a long way to go, but yet again, this year shouldn't be your main focal point. Because Deion Sanders, he ain't going to tell you all this because he can't let his team down this year, but he's focusing on year 2 and year 3 already. He's trying to build an empire. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a slow grind. And just like he said after the game, he stated, quote unquote, you better get me right now. This is the worst we gonna be. Do I need to show you any other examples to prove to you that Deion, he's in it for the long haul? Colorado is going to get stomped a couple more times this year, and they're going to lose many more games. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it in some bad light. But I don't want you guys thinking that I'm hopping off the Deion Sanders or Colorado hype train, because I'm not. I'm on the hype train, but at the end of the day, I got to call things how I see it, and I hope you guys can respect that as well. Things aren't going to be pretty this year for Colorado moving forward, and I'm going to say a lot of things that make you mad, but I have to evaluate football. That's part of what I do. You play bad football, I got to sit up here and say, you played bad football. Period. The end. I just want people out there to understand I can still be on the hype train and criticize you at the same time. Your mom or daddy, they might punish you. Does that mean they don't love you? No, they love you, but sometimes they gotta do what they gotta do. Same thing for me. I hope that makes sense. Did want to address all this. Let me know your thoughts down below. But